so that I can have a great future.
Okay.
And the world always revolves around the data, so pursuing my career through business analyst would be helpful.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that's the only audience we have, or anyone would like to take the initiative and introduce themselves?
Yeah, good morning all.
Good morning.
Myself Sudarshan Karle. I
Mhm.
have done my MBA in marketing from Sinhagad
Mhm.
College, Pune.
Okay.
So about my work experience, I worked with Reliance Jio national headquarters as assistant manager in
Mm.
business operation department.
Okay.
So in my last organization, my key responsibilities was to analyze business by collecting data to help organization in decision making process, etc. in data analytics. So I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to learn more in business analytics tools like Scrum, Agile, and Jira, etc.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so I think we can get started. So firstly, there are someone just mentioned it, business analytics. Okay. So let me tell you, business analytics and business analyst is quite different. Business analysis is about interacting with the customers, actually going through the entire SDLC, software development framework, where business analyst is responsible for interacting with the stakeholders. After that, gathering the requirements, creating the documentations, analyzing the flows, suggesting or recommending the approaches that we need to use. So this is all about a business analyst. Okay, business analytics will come on a different side. Okay, so this course, in this course, we are actually going to learn the core concepts with respect to business analyst. And for that, we already, I believe you must have the agenda crafted with you, where we are going to discuss about software development lifecycle, requirement gathering. After that, the methodologies like waterfall, agile, uh, followed by the Jira application and some real-based examples. Okay. So today's session, I'm going to keep a bit light. Okay, since the first session. And after hearing from you guys, I got a fair idea what exactly you're looking for. I believe most of you all have worked in corporates earlier. So, I mean, I believe we should not go from that basics. I will also, of course, try to cover up everything, but I think we can just start from a normal mid-level. Okay, all right. So yes, let's get started. One more thing that I want to tell you guys is about business analysis. Business analysis is more about interacting with stakeholders. So communication is the key for any business analyst. So that's why I just want to, keep these sessions more kind of discussion, interaction kind of a thing, so that, that can help you groom better. Second, a business analyst has to know why, what, how of the project. So to understand why, how, what, where, the first crucial thing that you should know is about why. You should always be asking why, not just here, but whenever you get onboarded on any project further, the why thing is very important for you guys. So that's why if you do not understand anything during this session, if you're not convinced with something or you have any thoughts, please keep asking questions. Okay. So that is it. A quick tip. Then let's get started. First is SDLC module. So have you heard about this terminology before?
No, ma'am.
Okay. It stands for Software Development Life Cycle. Okay. Software Development Life Cycle. So whenever you need to build anything, any sort of projects. Now let's not touch base to IT first. Let's take a real time example. Any sort of thing you need to build. Build as in, okay. What things do you generally do? Like, for example, if you want to make a cake, what you will do? I don't want a recipe. Just suppose I came to you, you're a baker, and I'm telling you that, hey, I need a cake. What sort of information will you need from me?
Size of the cake and
And
flavor of the cake.
and
And
Uh,
what design you want, what toppings you want
correct,
on that, and
when
what
delivery date.
correct, and
and how many layers you want on the
Preferences.
cakes, and
correct, correct. So come on, I have given you the answer to all your questions. I provided you all the information. What is the next step that you do?
according to the requirement of the person, I will arrange all the equipments and the things which are needed for making the cake.
Okay, perfect. Okay, everything is set. All equipments, everything is ready with you.
Then I will decide what to start with the first, like from the first layer, what all I have to put on the first layer, so I'll be ready with that things first.
Correct. One more quick question that I wanted to ask. Will you keep the equipments, will you have those equipments, tools and techniques designed after the getting the requirements or before? Since
Before.
you are a
Before.
yeah, baker. So it's like pretty self-explanatory that since you're not a baker, it's just a real-time example. So, assuming this, let's assume that everything was ready with you. So what you did was you asked the customer several amount of questions. You got the inputs. You started creating the foundations. Layers and everything. After that step,
Bake a cake.
baking, correct? You've baked a cake. Then,
Getting it ready for the delivery.
yeah, correct. Getting it ready for the delivery. Okay. And then,
We will ask for the feedback or any changes we needed in the further.
okay, that is fine. So coming to that thing, you'll ask for changes that are required. Okay.
Yes.
In this stage, to whom are you asking the changes?
The customer which we are delivering the cake.
Correct. In short, you're validating what you have created with the customer.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. So can we call it somehow testing? Testing as in not tasting. Testing. TES, not TAST.
Okay. Yes.
TEST, testing, huh? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, testing is done. Then what? After testing is done, after testing is completed, then what?
Then we will ask for the payment.
Okay. Yes. The backbone of everything. Okay, budget.
Launching the product.
Product, you're going to launch a cake?
No, after the testing, I am supposed to serve.
Yes, okay. You'll just deliver it. Once it's tested, it's deliver it. Okay. Correct? Or you'll keep it up to yourself.
No, ma'am, we'll deliver it.
Okay, all right. So yes, correct. This was correct. Now, whatever we have discussed, all of this, okay? All of these, in a way, are phases of any process. Okay, any process. So these phases, making it more technical or renovating it, are the ones that builds SDLC model. So SDLC model is basically a framework that describes the activities performed at each stage of a software development project. Now, one quick thing that I want to tell you guys. The process that we discussed of making a cake, there were various stages and everything. Can you call it a process? Right from gathering the requirements to completing the requirement gathering and delivering it. Can you call it a process?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. quick question, second question. Can you call it a business process?
Yes.
No.
According to me, like I am telling business process because like I am running a business, so this is my process, like how I work. That's why I told you.
Okay. Some other thoughts, please.
It's just a part of the business, not the entire process of the business.
Correct. Correct. Okay. So process is simple process. Are you able to see a notepad where I'm writing something or no?
Yes, we can see.
I have
It's
just
visible,
written
ma'am.
a simple process. Okay. Now, simple process. Making a coffee is also simple process. Correct. Now let's come to business process. Okay. Making a cake, making up a cup of coffee. Can you call this a business process? Okay, one simple thing, one simple question. You got a job in a corporate, any sort of company. Okay. There are two things that you're doing. One, you're building an online platform for them. Second, you're making a cup of coffee for yourself. Which amongst this can you call a business process?
Not the cup of coffee thing, the other one.
Correct, other one. And why is that so?
Because it's related to the business.
Some more drilling to this answer, please.
That is the personal process, not the business process.
Correct, personal process. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's make it a bit short. And again, please ask questions, have this session interactive, because business analysts are not supposed to stay silent in a meeting, any meeting. You'll have to attend multiple meetings in a day. And the basic expectation is for business analysts to speak, to talk. Okay. So that's why I'm going to, ask you as many questions as I can. So please be responsive. So, okay, long story short, business process is something that is going to add value to the organization. Okay. It has to add value to the organization. So, you making a cake, cup of coffee, it's not going to add any value to the business. It is not going to increase the business. Okay. But if I'm creating any online portal, online platform, so that certainly is going to add value to that particular business, correct? So that's why this is going to be a business process. Clear? This thing is clear?
Ma'am,
So,
value can not only be in the terms of money, right?
No, yeah, correct. I mean, not in terms of money, but you can build something to fasten the systems. You can just create something to enhance the performance, optimize their various functions and something. But whatever you're doing, somehow that is going to add value, is in fasten the process. I mean, make the business in a better state. That is something adding the value.
Yeah, ma'am, got it.
Okay. So anything, if suppose there is a company, let's say example, someone mentioned Amazon. Okay. Now if suppose Amazon is just kind of upgrading their app. Okay, adding multiple features, like the latest features that they have added. We are able to scan the products, add the images and suggestions we get based on the images. So will this functionality increase their business? What do you think?
Yes.
Yes, because products, I mean, customers, like it has become very easy for customers just to take the image, scan it, and there are suggestions they can add to cart, something sort of. Okay. So, of course, this is pretty clear that this thing is going to increase their business. What if Amazon is trying to build or upgrade their HR applications or leave tracking applications? Or these days, companies are moving from remote to going to offices. So, what if Amazon has hired some candidates and they have a leave management portal? and they are trying to upgrade that. What do you think? Will that add some value to the business or no?
Yes.
It will add.
Yes. If yes, how?
Like it will manage the tracking of the employee, how much hour they are working. Like Amazon used to like track like hourly basis also there, how much the employee is working when they are going
Keep the
out,
track of the
punch in, punch
employees.
out.
Correct, 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 correct. So, did it increase the revenue somehow?
No, it
Is
didn't
No
increase the
revenue.
revenue.
yes, but still, it is optimizing, or we can say, uh, helping in organize the leave tracking and everything in a more like standardized way. Correct. So that is like a good thing for any organization. Correct.
Yes.
So that is the type of business process. Okay. So always keep in mind anything that is going to add a value, that is a business process. And to manage that business process, we would need software development life cycle. Clear? Or any questions
Yes,
or
clear.
any thoughts? I am very open to hearing your thoughts as well. So, anyone? Okay. Moving ahead. Business process, whenever a business process is created, there are certain parameters that you need to take care of. Okay, I'm just writing it over here. Resources. Okay, so these are certain parameters whenever any business process needs to be defined. And yes, equipments also. Equipments, or we call it tools, technologies. Okay, whenever any business process is defined, to execute or to implement that business process, we need resources. Okay, what can be the resources generally? Who are the resources?
Employees.
Correct. Employees, or yeah, developers, testers. Correct. Those are the resources. Okay, the right resources are required. After that, we need events. So like we just saw a few examples, or let's take example of making coffee. There are certain events to it. What are events, by the way, team?
Like the work which they are doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, correct. So can you name few events in creating or shopping shop? If you want to shop from Amazon or any sub website, okay, you want to shop something, what are the events that you're going to go through?
Uh, Add to the cart.
Directly,
No,
No,
searching
first
for the
search for the
product.
product.
directly search for the product.
Like search for the open the app, then go to the
Correct.
product which we want and the relevant product which we are searching for,
Mhm.
then the company which are preference, and after that we'll be putting it into the cart according to the prices which we are needed, and then we can move forward with the discount coupon and all, and then we can good
Add
to
the
go
address.
at the address and all the basic information which are needed, and after that we are good to go to buy.
Perfect, perfect.
And the payment thing.
Yes, it's very elaborative, and thank you for that. So, yes, all these activities that you mentioned, these are events, okay? And to enable these events, we need a business process. Like a business process cannot have just one event. It has to have multiple events, okay? So a normal process, that's fine, but any business process, there should be many events associated to it. The ones that you mentioned are the events which we need to consider and build on it. Okay. Then values, like we have discussed, it has to add value to the organization. There should be some decisions associated with it. Now, the decisions are driven by the events. Okay. So, whatever events you mentioned, there are some decisions related to these events, like going to the home page, or adding the buttons, or adding the products to the cart. So everything is driven by decision. Okay. So the decision are also a factor into it. Process. So the process, that is the SDLC process that I mentioned, and equipment and tools. So it's generally the technology when it comes to software development. So any business process, the core.
Ma'am, what does values mean?
Okay, values means adding a value. Okay, it has to be value. So business process, the goal of the business process is to add value to that particular organization or that particular business. For example, like we just discussed, it should somehow be able to increase the revenue, or optimize, or make the processes streamline, or make work easier for their employees. So some output should be there, and that should be like a kind of validatable output. Like whatever you have created, it has to say that yes, because of this application or something, things have become very easier, or because of this application, revenue has been increased. So something like that, some positive note it should have. So that is a value.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. And business analysts, it's just, business analysts are directly proportional to the values. How, that we are going to see later. But just remember, business analyst has a very important, crucial role in increasing or optimizing the value of any project. So clear for now, is it clear what is the difference between a business process and a simple process?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any doubts, any thoughts, any feedback, something on this concept, process, business process?
Ma'am, can you say about the equipments once more?
Okay, sure. Okay. So let's take example of a company. They have been working and they are just planning. They are already having a platform already built. Okay, they are already. Let me take some real-time example. Heard about CRM, customer relationship management?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Salesforce, not CRM. Heard about Salesforce, Siebel?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. These are the leading platforms that are currently used by businesses. Also Pega. Okay. So whatever business process the company is having, just to track the customers or something, they are making use of the CRM platform. Okay. So suppose CRM is itself a product. Again, there are two types of firms, as you all must be aware: service-based and product-based. Product-based are the ones who build products, okay, and sell their products. So CRM is a product that is sold to some organization or any banks. Generally, CRM is used in major banks because banks is more inclined towards the customer management and all. So let's say CRM is in the bank. There's a bank which is using CRM. Okay. Now suppose that bank, and they're already having the CRM and everything. That bank has or was using some other platform earlier. Any other, or they were just making the entries manually in the Excel. Now CRM is onboarded. Now they want to send those entries to that CRM. So how can they send it? Some gateway is required, some coding is required, maybe some database is required, correct? So these things are comes into the technologies. Like for sending those data from one platform to other, there is some coding required in Java. So for Java, we have that Eclipse. So since Eclipse is not available, organizations will raise the request for Eclipse, get the budget approved, get that Eclipse. Once Eclipse is there, then they'll start coding and start working on the whatever thing that is designed. So this technologies that we need to use comes under equipments and tools. Clear? Or
Yes, ma'am, clear.
yeah. So basically technologies that you need to use. Okay. So, okay, moving on, let's move to SDLC. So yes, we have very clearly discussed most of it. Let's first, whatever things that we discussed few minutes before related to making a cake or anything from SDLC standpoint. Okay. The first stage in SDLC is planning. Okay. Planning means, hello, I was audible, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. So first thing is planning. Planning is like regarding making decisions, basically, what you need to build. Again, in today's session, I am not going to go that core because I don't want to bombard you with so much of things. So just an overview kind of we'll discuss, but going ahead from next sessions, we will just try to take a deep dive in each and every entity. Okay. So first stage, okay, there are 6 stages mentioned. Let's keep this 6 aside. Simple thing, remember, SDLC is about analyzing, design, coding, testing. I'll just note it down for you. Just to make it more simple, SDLC consists of analysis, designing, coding, and testing. This is the core objective of SDLC. Let's discuss this, then we can go in a bit detail. So let's try to relate these activities with the example. What can you term as analysis? What do you think?
Analyzing the data which we are getting from the client.
Okay. Yes.
Analyzing the raw data into required form.
Correct.
I'm analyzing the purpose of the product.
Correct.
Means what exactly your
Yes.
client need.
Correct. So in analyzing, first you need to have the objective handy. Correct. That is correct. What is the other thing that you need to do in analysis? So remember, whenever you get a job in anywhere, any corporate, whenever you're onboarded on any project, please ask why. Why are we building it? The why thing is very important. The why will give you the information of the pain areas that they have been going through. So why part is very important. So that's why problem definition is also one of the term in a proper business requirement document. So you'll have to ask them why. I mean, understand the pain areas, challenges, understand the objective, and what can come into the analysis part. You know, this is the problem. This is the objective.
Okay, accordingly we will come up with the situations. We will deal with the data of the business accordingly with their what they need.
Yes, that the one that you're saying now, that is the a bit next step.
Okay.
Initially, analysis means just finding out, getting out as much information as you can. Okay, so
Studying the information.
studying, analyzing, everything comes under the analysis phase. In fact, if you're working with stakeholders, you know who stakeholders are? Clients. Stakeholders are the clients who are going to give you the requirements. Okay. Is it clear? Stakeholder, who's a stakeholder?
Yes, clear.
Yeah, it's a client. Whoever wants a thing to be built. For example, of a cake, I was a stakeholder for you because I was going to pay you, right? And I was asking you to build something for me. So stakeholder is also an important entity when it comes to analysis phase. So analysis is all about getting information about the stakeholders, their way of working, about the project, about any existing documents, about the objective, about the pain areas, everything comes under the analysis phase. Okay, clear? What is analysis? Absolute silence. Guys, business analysts, you need to talk. And yes, if you do not understand anything, not just here, but going in the corporates everywhere also, there is a thought in our mind generally that how should I ask it? It's such a lame thing. It's such a silly thing. But ask it. Please ask. There is no space for assumptions in the project terms. So that's why if it is not clear, ask it. If it is still not clear, ask it again. Okay, but try to make things clear and try to, upon completion of one session at least, keep the objective of in a mind that at least you are able to tell something about that module without even referring to any documentation. So try to take it that way. Okay. So moving ahead, is analysis part clear?
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
There is
Yes,
going to be requirement gathering, which is altogether a separate module that we are going to cover, and stakeholder analysis. So it is not as easy as it's looking over here. There are several things, several techniques that comes under this. So eventually we are going to see that. But for now, just remember, analysis is nothing but getting as much information as you can, studying that information, studying each and every aspect of that project that you need to develop. Okay? Okay, one quick question. Where do you think business analysts comes into SDLC? Like I mentioned, these are the phases. These are the 4 phases. Where do you think business analyst sits? Is the question clear, or you want me to repeat the question?
Please repeat it, ma'am.
Okay, let's come to the question in some time. Okay. So you want to develop something. First thing, this thing is clear. Like you have done the analysis. Now, what is the next step when you have information with you? When you know that you want to build this technology needs to be used.
Ma'am,
This-
then it's important to convey all the information to your development team.
Yes.
So what
correct.
your stakeholder required, and you are a mediator between your client and your development team. So business analysis is important in initial stage, I think so.
Okay, correct. That's correct. I'll add some points to that. So coming to the question, you have completed all this requirement gathering, everything you've completed. Now, what is the next step that you do? Just
Design a plan.
design a plan. What plan generally?
Plan of events.
Events, correct. How can you design it? Take that
By
real
using
example only.
some
Yes.
flowchart techniques.
Correct. Okay, let's to make it more easier for you. You can just take example of a simple one that we discussed at the very beginning. That once requirements are clear, you'll design something, right? Can you directly take the requirements and start building? At least you'll have to show the client what it is going to look like, right? So basically, you'll have to start designing. I mean, making some sort of prototypes or kind of visual representation of what we are going to bring. Okay, so that comes under the designing part. At a high level, is designing clear? What exactly happens?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. After that, coding. What does coding means? It must be clear to everyone. Coding. And why is it important? What is coding? Let's replace this word with developing for a bit, to make it a bit easy. Okay, what does coding developing means?
Like Python.
Yes, that is a technology.
Okay.
Adding some
Writing a query.
Queries.
Yes, queries, correct.
queries and some user friendly, how your product can be user friendly. So it's depend on the coding.
Okay. Okay. Any more answers, please? Okay. What was the aim of all of this analysis, design, coding, testing? What is the aim? Why are we doing this?
To get a perfect outcome which the client needed about their product.
Correct. Can you make it a bit short?
Solution.
Correct. Solution. Very good word. To build a solution. Correct. You need to build a solution, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So for that, what does this means then? Coding and developing.
Coding according to the solution.
Perfect. Coding as per the requirements. Okay. Whatever requirements are there, you'll according to code develop. Okay. And once this activity is completed, then you need to test it. Testing. What is testing?
Prototyping.
Sorry, but prototyping is not testing. Okay.
Running the query.
Running the query is also not testing. General. I mean, let's keep it very general discussion. What is testing and why is it required?
Testing is like examining the product, whether it is fulfilling the stakeholders' requirements or not.
Correct.
All the and
Yeah.
all the codes are whether they are running perfectly or not, or is there any bug. That's why testing is important.
Okay. Correct. This is the correct answer. One more thing. Testers are not responsible for the code and everything. If the code is running properly or not, written properly or not, that is a thing that will come under the development part. Testers' objective is to just ensure that the solution is developed as per requirements. As per requirements. If client has said that they need a user page as in red in color, so it has to be red. Okay, whatever the stakeholder is saying, client is saying, customer is saying, those requirements are need to be adhered. Whatever they are saying. Okay, so that is the job of a tester. That whatever the outcome should be, the current project that is developed should match. Clear? SDLC comprises of these 4 stages: analysis, designing, coding, testing at a very high level. Is this clear for you, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Now, one quick question for you. Where do you think business analysts come into the picture?
For me, it's designing where a business analyst used to come.
Okay.
Analysis and designing.
Analysis and designing.
In UAT testing also they come.
Sorry, where?
In UAT, user interface testing.
UAT or UIT?
UAT.
Okay, so UAT stands for user acceptance testing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And where does UAT comes?
Once the tester finishes, it goes to the client side testing. There they do the UAT testing.
Okay, correct. It's correct. It's correct. Okay. So let me tell you, business analyst will play a crucial role, a very important role in this phase. in the analysis phase. Okay. Business analysts are the ones who will start the kickoff of the project, will kick off the project with the help of this. So, of course, business analysts will be involved across the project. They will be involved with in analysis, in designing as well, coding development. They won't be directly involved, but indirectly they will be involved. And of course, in testing, that is UAT. Okay. So business analysts are involved everywhere, but the major role of their responsibilities comes into the analysis phase, because business analyst is the only person who will need to go to the client, set up meetings with the client, create agendas for the meetings, drive the meetings. After meetings are completed, they will need to create the minutes of the meetings, note down the action items that are discussed into the meeting, assign those action items to the individual team member, coordinate with team member, get their inputs, again go to the stakeholder, come back, finalize the requirements, create the certain documentations for those requirements, again go to the stakeholder, get them signed off, and then start the development of the project. So these are the things that business analyst needs to do. One quick question: did you understand what I said, or was it too fast?
Understood, ma'am.
Yeah, understood.
So
Yeah, got it, ma'am.
yeah, business analyst will be involved in requirement gathering. Okay. So SDLC comes with 4 core stages, that is analysis, designing, coding, developing, and testing. And we just discussed what happens in each and every stage. Okay. So yes, one quick question. Once you write SDLC in your resume, okay, you'll be adding this, that have sound knowledge of SDLC. The first question that the interviewer might ask you, what is SDLC? So can someone quickly answer this? What do you mean by SDLC? And
So can I go?
yes, please.
Yeah. SDLC is the framework where we analyze, design, and coding and testing the data.
Okay. It's a framework
Yeah.
that describes the activities performed at each stage of the software. Okay. Simple.
Okay.
It's a framework that describes the activities of performed. What are the activities that are performed? What are the activities in SDLC?
Planning, analysis, design.
Correct. Yes, go ahead.
Coding,
Testing,
testing.
coding.
Correct. This is correct. Okay. One more thing. Whenever you answer this question, never say SDLC is a framework that describes activity like testing, development, analysis. So never say like this. Go in a proper format. Analysis, coding, analysis, designing, coding, and testing. Okay. So keep that format in your mind. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
So that was at a very basic level. Let's go a bit at a higher side. So first activity that comes under SDLC, like we mentioned, is analysis. Before analysis also, there is one activity done that is called as planning. So we need proper sort of planning. Now, what does planning includes? What is the duration of the project? What is the budget of the project? Who are the resources? Resources are the ones who are going to work on the project. So if there is a new project that comes, there will be a project manager assigned to the project. Project manager will see who is going to work. If the people who needs to work on this project are already a part of that organization, manager will ask them to join the team. If no, they will start the requirements They will just go to the HR, tell them that, hey, we are coming up with a new project and we need individuals with these capabilities. Like if they need a business analyst, so they'll tell them that the person should have knowledge about requirement gathering, stakeholder management, agile, and all sort of things. So first they will plan the resources, plan the project. Okay. Budget is the thing that is taken care. So all these activities comes under the planning phase. Okay. Which are taken care by both a business analyst also and a project manager also. So if business analyst was not a part of that project, the business analyst will be hired, and with the help of business analyst, a certain plan will be created for that project. So first is planning, okay? Second is analysis. Now planning focuses on entire project. Analysis things focuses on requirements. Can someone tell me the quick difference between planning and analysis? Okay, let me go through this. Planning is basically looking at the vision, like the overall project. It's not just limited to requirement gathering or testing or coding. It's about the entire project plan. Okay. How much time are we going to give for analysis phase? How much are we going to give for testing? How much are we going to give for development? How much budget is required for this particular project? All sort of project related activities. Also, whenever any project comes, you need to take some sort of approvals are also required. Everything is associated with it. Approvals from various teams. So everything is done into the planning phase. But analysis is more inclined towards only requirements. It has nothing to do with testing, coding. It's all about gathering the requirements. So planning is like overall, analysis is a kind of a narrow beam of focus towards requirements. Clear? Is it clear now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. And business SDLC, software development lifecycle, it consists of all the entities from project, everyone that was a part of the project. That is project managers, business analysts, testers, and everyone. So planning is taken care by project manager and BA, if BA is there. If not, PM, and then they come to analysis where business analyst will take care of the project. So here in analysis, business analyst will need to, we've already discussed what business analyst needs to do, needs to interact and get as much information as they can from the stakeholders, and then pass it on to design team or design it by themselves. Okay. So second is analysis. Third is design, which I think must be quite clear. Fourth is implementation. So implementation is just another word for development, for coding. So that is implementation. Okay. Followed by testing and integrations. So let's be stuck to testing for now. And sixth is maintenance. So after testing, the product or whatever you have created will be delivered to the stakeholder or wherever. And then have you heard about support? Teams like support? Haven't you heard he got a job in support? Like you must have heard that he's a developer, he's a tester. Anyone, they are working in support? No? Okay, I'll tell you. Support is also a team that comes later in the project. So now, after implementations, after everything is completed, there can be a scenario that the project is delivered and there are problems that are occurring in that project. So in that case, what will happen is now, they won't interact with the developer or a tester, there is a separate team, support and maintenance, which will help them resolve their queries. Take an example. If you buy something, if you buy a laptop, okay, you got the laptop, you started working on the laptop. Now the laptop is under the warranty, 1 year warranty, and you're having a problem. Whom do you connect with?
Technical support, customer care.
Correct, customer care. You won't go to and ask the company that, hey, who is the one who tested the laptop? Give me the name of the tester. No. You'll go to the support guy, you'll raise your queries, they will note their queries, and accordingly, the query will be taken care. So that is a maintenance team, that is the support and maintenance, who will provide you the resolutions once your project is like built, developed. So that is about SDLC, 6 stages. Core ones are the 4 that we discussed. Planning and maintenance, these are also part, but at a bit higher level. So yes, that was about SDLC. We have already seen the phases. So I'm not going to go through this slide. So I will be sharing this data with you. So eventually, you can go through it. And in case of if there are any queries, we can go through it again. For now, did you get a fair idea of SDLC? And this is for everyone. This question is for everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Everybody, like if this is asked in anywhere, will you be able to answer this? What is SDLC and what are the phases in SDLC?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So yeah, here I have just given a quick example of various phases. So for requirement gathering, we can discuss it now also. For requirement gathering, there's a project whose name is building a social media app. Can you name any social media app? Any social media app?
Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook,
Correct.
Telegram.
Yes. So when you needed to build, when Instagram needed to be developed, it had to go through certain phases. And which were those phases? The ones that we discussed, like analysis, design, coding, testing. So should we have this session now or later on regarding discussing requirements with each project? What do you think? Should we cover up few more concepts and then go to it, or should we start discussing now? Okay, we'll just come on this bit. Yes, someone was saying something.
Yeah, I think we can go. We can discuss it now, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So okay, I am already having a case study handy with me. Okay, we can just discuss it now. So suppose there is some data in front of your screen also for reference. You can take help of that data also. Let's say if you need to develop a mobile banking application, okay, this is the only thing that you know. Imagine you got a job as a business analyst in a firm. This is your first day. You've asked your manager that, hey, what do we need to build? So they are saying that, hey, we need to build a mobile banking application. So that is the only information you have for now. Apart from that, you know nothing. Manager is also not aware. This happens. This has happened with me also. You do not have clarity. People don't have clarity. Or in case if they have clarity, or if they know, they clearly don't know what they need to do. In some cases, they know what they need to do, but how they need to do it, they don't know. So there are so many, blanks sometimes. So let's see that. Let's take example of that scenario only. You went to you joined a firm and you just have this example that you need to create a mobile application. So how can you start with this? Only information you have this. How can you initiate this project? Anyone? Consider you got a job and I'm your manager. I'm telling you, hey, we need to build a mobile banking application. So give some inputs. What are your thoughts?
If my manager told me to build a mobile app for someone, so can I put a meeting with the client or something?
Correct, correct. Meeting with the client.
Gather the requirements.
Gather requirements, but how? Step
Like,
by
what are their process? What all that should be included in the mobile app? Because each bank have different process in their apps.
Different design preference, layout preference.
yes,
Like
okay.
we can ask the client what are the requirements and what are the expectations.
Okay, can you repeat this question?
Like we can
Yes,
ask the client like what are their expectations and what are their requirements.
sorry to interrupt you. Can you repeat it one more time last time?
Yeah, we can ask the client what are the expectations and what are the requirements
Correct.
regarding the
Asking the
project.
clients. Okay. Asking the clients. Correct. But who are the clients?
Stakeholders.
Who are the stakeholders?
The bank which we are dealing with.
Correct. So, the bank which you are dealing with, there is a certain team in every bank which you are going to deal with. Okay. So, you will need to ask your manager that who are the stakeholders, who you need to talk to. You just cannot, if I want to create a bank application for SBI Bank, you cannot go to LinkedIn, find a person and ping him, hey, hi, give me the information. Can you do it that way? No.
No.
You need to ask whom do you need to connect? Like, who are the right people? Who are the stakeholders? So, this is the first important thing that you need to check on. Who is the stakeholder? Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, stakeholders can also be of many types. Some, there will be very senior people at director level. Okay. Some might be mid-level people. Some are the juniors. They have just recently joined. So again, before lining up the meetings with the stakeholders, you have to understand where do they stand. I mean, what is their position? You just recently joined a firm, you don't know anything, you are just blank, you are just zero with the knowledge of the project, and suddenly your manager told you that yes, we need to set up a meeting with director of that particular bank. Do you think you'll be right person to have that meeting?
No.
Yeah, I mean, there have been people who have already worked in corporate. You can also share your experiences. So, what?
Because there will be communicate. Sorry, ma'am, you're telling something. Yeah.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Like, ma'am, there will be some kind of communication gap between the senior member of the bank and the new joinee in the company,
Mhm.
and the questions which we are going to ask must be like, we cannot ask everything like the new joiner.
Correct, correct. So that's why first thing is, as a business analyst, you will need to ask who are the stakeholders. Okay. Upon getting that information, you will need to do some analysis on stakeholders also. Like, if the stakeholder is a developer, okay, so you cannot directly have the meeting with that developer. Of course, you can, but developer will talk in their coding language. They will tell you that yes, we will write these methods, we will have a simulator created, we will get that listener, all these development terms which you won't be able to understand, right? So it's your job at that point to get a developer with you in that call and have that meeting. So first thing is stakeholder and their analysis. There are many techniques that we are going to see later in a detail, but for now, just remember stakeholders. Okay, getting the right stakeholders. Okay, clear? Okay, you got the stakeholders. Now, what you'll do in requirement gathering? Second step.
How they would like to
Yes, sir.
see the app.
Yes.
Gathering the requirements,
How gathering the requirements?
like their preferences, how they want to look the app.
Yes, correct. Their preferences.
Yeah.
Understanding their preferences. Correct.
Like what features will be needed for the bank application which they are dealing with.
Okay, yes. Okay, one thing. Okay, I'm a stakeholder. You have asked me what features do I want. Now I am saying that, hey, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what features I need. First time I'm building an app, but I need something like HDFC Bank's app or some other bank's app. Or generally, they won't take the name of the bank apps, but they will just tell that I need an application which is already been developed for some other team. But I don't know how my application should look like, but that is the only reference point for you. What can be
Okay.
your response on this?
Like according to me, I will be asking them the raw data which they have before the like the people who have been using their bank, like their transactions and all, where the client are facing the issue,
Correct.
and some feedbacks might, like many banks nowadays take feedbacks. So if they have any feedbacks on that, so I'll be generating idea through that.
Correct. So that is all correct. Okay. So basically, first analyzing the stakeholders, then gathering all sort of as much requirement as you can from the stakeholders. Okay. So this is what happens in a requirement gathering. Anyone wants to add something?
I'm at this stage. I will find some competitors' application also, what they are offering to their customer. And according to that information, we can discuss with our stakeholder that what other competitors are offering to their customer. So can we implement these things to our application further or not? So we can discuss with stakeholders like this.
Correct. The one that you mentioned, it is a technique in requirement gathering that is called as document analysis. We will look at it, but very good point that you have mentioned. And it's a technique also, a very well-known technique. Okay. So yes, requirement gathering. Okay. Once requirement gathering is done, then comes the design part. Okay, planning is also there. Planning is about creating the detailed project plan. Okay, this can come, I mean, generally it comes at the beginning, but after you've gathered the requirement, you'll also need a plan how to execute that requirement. So that talks about planning over here. Upon gathering the requirement, you need to plan those requirements. But the one first planning that we see, this was with respect to overall project. This planning is focusing only to the implementation of the requirements. Okay. One more quick question. For mobile application requirement gathering, what are some specific type of questions can you ask them? Understand, it's a banking application, right? So it's a banking application, correct? Can I ask them questions related to e-commerce site? A stakeholder wants a banking application. Can I ask him, hey, can we create a feature where you can add the products in your cart?
No.
We cannot.
Correct. Why?
Ma'am, we can ask them for the checkbook and the issuing of a card thing.
Correct. Checkbook. You give a very good name, checkbook. Where does checkbook comes from? Like which industry it is a part of?
Banking.
Correct? Banking. So always remember, whenever you're deployed on any project, understand the background of the project. If it is a banking project, you have to ask questions related to bankings, like you mentioned, checkbooks, funds, transfer, account information, customers related to questions. Okay. So also you need to focus on domain as well. So that was one thing. So again, this is a banking application. You'll have to ask questions particularly related to all the banking features. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Let's go to design. Planning, it's all about project plan only. We already have discussed this timeline, development, everything about the requirements implementation. Coming to the design part. Okay. Now, designing is about creating wireframes and prototypes. What are wireframes? Can anyone, rough idea, wireframes and prototypes? Okay, I'll tell you. This is a mobile banking application. Okay. Wireframe will be some pictorial representation on a book and pad or something. Okay. That is a wireframe in the form of flow charts or something. That will be a wireframe. Prototype is like creating something very similar to a banking application, which is static in nature. Static in nature as in you cannot, it is not functioning yet. For example, if you go on a mobile banking page, what things do you find over there? Any mobile banking or any banking application you go, what are the things that you generally see on the screen? Anyone?
Login. The first page would be login one.
Yes, login. Again, what more information is there? Is it user ID password?
Yes, user ID, password,
Or
PIN.
the MPN.
Yes, correct. Okay. What happens when you add all these details and hit on login?
Home page opens.
Correct. Homepage opens. So you came to the system, you added some information, you hit login, a homepage came up. How did this happen? This happened through integration. Like the homepage, I mean, it's integrated. Like there is a, on login, there is some code created which will open this homepage. Okay. On homepage, you need to do some transaction. Okay. You went on some other fields, you entered your details, you enter the amount, you have written the transaction amount as 1,000 rupees. You hit on transaction. What should you hit on submit? What should happen in this case upon submitting?
The message will pop up like the transaction has been successful, and you will be receiving a messages.
Okay. Again, how will you receive the message? Like transaction has to be completed, right? What does
Yes.
transaction means?
Transfer of money.
Correct. Transfer. Correct. This is the point that I wanted to raise. Transfer of money. So if it is actual application, transfer of money should take place. If it is a prototype is nothing but a static model of that particular application. So prototype is basically you'll have access a copy of that application, but a non-functional copy. Okay. Did you understand what is a prototype? Prototype is basically a non-functioning copy of the particular project or thing that you're going to develop. Any questions?
Clear, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So it is generally used to give the stakeholder the look and feel of the application, but it will never be dynamic. It is always static in nature. Okay. So that is prototypes, which are sometimes these are created by developers. Sometimes BA only can create. In some technologies, like for Pega application, BA is already having the access to create the prototypes and all. So BAs can also create this. Wireframe is basically an outline of the web page or the app that you're going to build. And this is just the outline. It will not have details about the color, images, fonts, nothing like that. Just a outline. No,
A three-dimensional module, kind of.
Three-dimensional is prototype. This is more about graphical.
Ma'am, like I have one more
More
question
like a
to ask.
two-dimensional.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, you have told about that e-commerce. Like we not asking the question to the bank people like their e-commerce. Like my account is in PNB. Like in their app nowadays they started like we can shop through PNB bank app also. Like different clothing products are also included there. There is one section they have included. So what we can say on that?
Okay, these things will come eventually. Firstly, what is the core objective? Understand the core objective of that product. It is a banking application. So,
Yes.
banking application, first priority is to help customers to do the transaction, right? You go to a banking application, you are able to shop through other PNG and all that you mentioned, but you are not able to do a simple transaction only, or you're not able to check your balance only. So will that serve the purpose?
So
No.
No.
Understand the objective first, go according the objective, and later on you can keep adding things. Abhi these days now everyone wants to expand their business. So they are adding as many things as they can. But the objective should not be missed. A banking application should have the capability of smoothly working on the banking things, banking related functionalities. Now, this adding an e-commerce bit to it, that will come into the later stages. So you can ask the questions, but understand objective and ask in that way. Regarding e-commerce, you can ask the questions definitely, but not in the first session only. Let the application be built first. Let that be in a stable position. Then later on, these things can be asked. Got it?
yes, ma'am.
So don't miss out on the objective. That is what I'm saying. Okay. So yes, designing. So generally wireframes and prototypes are created. Prototype, someone just mentioned three-dimensional. So yes, that was the correct answer. Wireframes are also called as blueprint. These will just give you graphical information of whatever you're building. So that is designing. Okay. Wireframes are also something that BAs needs to work on. There are very good tools like Visual Studio. Heard about it? Okay, no. Then there is a Bizagi business process modeler tools. So every organization have their separate set of tools that they use. Some create the wireframes in Excel only, or some use Paint. Still, you must be shocked. But yes, there are some organizations who still have not advanced and using the traditional tools that they have been using. So if you tell in an interview that you have worked on creating wireframes and prototypes, the question will be, which tools did you use? So you can either say, we just used Excel, or we used Paint, or we used the Microsoft Visual Studio, or some other tools that you can think about. Okay. So yes, that is about the designing part. So far clear? Any doubt? Do you all need a quick break if it is getting too much?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's take a 5 minutes break, everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, ma'am.
See you in 5 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes. Please try to come early as possible. The ones who do not need break, please try to think about what we have discussed so far, and if there are any questions, you can just ask it to me. Okay. So yes, let's. I'll just put myself on mute, and you all can have just a quick chatter session, and we can catch up at it's 9:18 now. 9:30. 9:30 is too bad. 9:25. What's it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. I'll just put myself on mute. Okay. Hello everyone, I am back. Please let me know once you all are back.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, what about others?
Yes, ma'am, we are there.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am. We are.
okay. So should we get started?
Yes.
Okay. So we are just discussing
Yes, ma'am.
a development of a mobile banking applications and what are the standard phases that this project will go through. We have already seen requirement gathering where we focused not in detail, but yes, we just understood that we should know the stakeholders. We should have the thing in mind that we are asking questions related to that particular application, not just random questions. We need to go from scratch, like zero, like basics. So that is all that we saw. Planning, we did not see much because this is about managing all of this, and this is generally done by project manager only or scrum master, maybe if it's agile. Design wireframes and prototypes we have seen. Wireframes are nothing but the ones that we call as the graphical representation that does not focus on the color or the actual look of the model. It's just giving you an idea that this is somewhat similar to this, you'll get it. Prototype, of course, prototype will actually give you a model, but it will not be functional. It will not be a working model. It's going to give you a 361 that someone mentioned, 360-degree model, but which is not functioning. But you can get a fair idea of the look and feel of the application, basically UI, user interface. Moving on, once design is ready, planning is done. What do you think is the next step?
Implementation.
Correct, implementation. So what will happen in implementation? What will happen in this phase, implementation?
Basically, discussing about the process in the app.
Implementing the series of steps in the
Okay, some more answers, please.
Following the planning steps.
Wonderful. Following the planning stage, correct? So in planning, you can see the word developers, correct? In planning stage, on the screen, is the screen visible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Is a developer's word.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
can you relate developers to implementation? What is happening in implementation actually?
Coding.
Correct. Coding. Developers will code, start their coding, correct? But again, a question arises. How are they coding? What is the reference point for them? We cannot do it like this way. Ki, I'm having a call with developer. I'm telling that, hey, build a login functionality. Can the developer start coding directly? No, the developer cannot. As a business analyst, you are responsible for providing the developer with each and every information. If you write on the screen 2 plus 2 equals to 5, developer has to write a logic which will give 2 plus 2 equals to 5. So you as a business analyst are responsible for not just gathering the requirements, but creating the documents out of it, where you will write each and everything that the UI should look like. Of course, you are going to provide them the prototypes and wireframes also, but everything, if it is a login page, you have to write it that there should be a username field with a box, text box, there is this criteria. The username should have the criteria where it is taking only alphanumeric characters. You cannot have special characters. You have this length. Then with respect to the passwords, that this is the password. This can be the length of the password. This is the captcha if we need to do. So all these things, of course, developer is going to make it, create it, but you have to tell each and every detail of it, each and every detail. And those are the details that you have gathered in your requirement gathering session. Okay. So all these details, you need to draft standard documents, which are called as BRD and FRD. So basically a business requirement document and a functional requirement document you need to create, hand it over to the developer, then developer will start developing. So this is how developer will reach to the development stage. Is it clear? Any questions over here? Everyone?
Clear, ma'am.
Clear, ma'am.
Okay. Once development is completed, then testers will come into the picture. Okay. So now, for testers also in every organization, for testing it, or for rather developing, we have various environments. The one who has already worked in the firms, did you come across this scenario that development is done in the dev environment? Testing is done in QA environment. Anyone aware about it?
There are 4 stages of environment, madam.
Correct. Yes. Which are those?
One is development, another one is QA, next is UAT, and final production.
Yes. Correct. One more is there. It is UAT. Okay. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. 4 stages. Third is the UAT, and final is the production.
Yeah, you mentioned UAT, right? UAT you mentioned. Okay, I did not hear that. Okay, UAT. Perfect. Okay, correct. So what happens is now this development will happen on the dev environment. Okay. Then we have this testing where testers will start testing on the QA environment. QA also, there are different type of environments. In some organizations, it directly say QA. In some organizations, it is called as SIT, System Integration Testing Environment. Okay. So somewhere it's QA, somewhere it's SIT.
Ma'am, what does QA mean?
Quality assurance testing. It's a testing thing. Quality assurance. You are performing testing just to find out the quality of how it is developed. So QA is quality assurance. And it is done by testers. Just like business analyst, we have different jobs for testing also. Testing is also done in 2 ways. It's manual and automation. In manual, you just need to check things. Okay. Things like if, like we discussed, business analyst will give you the criteria that this field should have alphanumeric. So testers will have to check that the particular field is taking only alphanumeric. If it is taking only numbers, they will raise a bug or a defect. Not a bug, a defect. Okay. So testing teams ensures that whatever developer has developed is as per requirements or not. Clear? Hello, everyone, clear or?
Yes, ma'am, I got it.
Okay. One quick question. What is the criteria for testing? What do you think? What is the reference point for testing for testers? Like, if you need to test something, you will get 2 outputs out of it. It is whether correct or incorrect, right? In general life also. And for testing that, you have some reference point. So what do you think can be the reference point for these testers?
Like which will be provided. Hello.
Yes, correct.
The thing which will be provided by the business analyst to the developer, they will
Correct.
they will
Correct.
check by them.
I'm
Correct.
ensuring things are functioning smoothly or not.
Correct. Correct. But for that, business analyst has to write some or provide them some with the test criteria, that this is something that you need to test and this has to be output. So suppose if business analyst has decided, if client says that 2 plus 2 equals to 5, business analyst has written a requirement like that, developer has developed it, and tester has to also ensure that the output is matching to the one that is requirement. They cannot just use their things or their assumptions. They have to strictly on like test on the documents provided. Okay, so this is done by entire different team. As a business analyst, you will be responsible for giving them the demonstrations also. You have to explain them that this should work like this. This is something like this. So everything, all the documents that you've created, you'll have to walk them through it, give them the entire information about what is to be tested, when is to be tested, and all sort of things. Okay. So
Like we have to provide them the detailed analysis of the project, something like that.
yes, yes. One more thing, you need to, in some cases, organizations, when testing needs to be done now. So what is to be tested? So you need to have those documents with you, Like testing team has their own plan that they will be starting testing on this date. They will test these many cases and provide them the output. So there are two concepts into it: test cases and test scenarios. In some organizations, test cases and test scenarios are written by testers. So business analyst will give them the BRD, explain them, and then business analyst will say that you write the test cases now. But in some startups or somewhere where there is a resource crunch, business analyst is only responsible for writing test cases and test scenarios. So that knowledge also you should have. What are these? What are test cases and what are scenarios? Not at least the experience in writing it, but at least at a high level. What is a scenario? What is a test case? Okay. So let's take a quick example of test case and test scenario just for knowledge purpose. An example of test scenario can be build a login page. Okay. One question for you. Can you test this? You are a tester. I am telling you that a login page is created. Can you test it, please? Can you test it on this much information?
No, no, ma'am.
So
No,
what you need into this? What is to right? So
What can be appeared beyond the login page?
sorry.
What should be appeared after the login
Correct.
page?
Correct. So I will just write it this way. So this is a scenario, and there will be respective test cases. So first is and so on. So this will be a test scenario which you need to explain. And these are the test cases. Okay, this is the criteria. Apologies for the typo. And this is alphanumeric that I wanted to add. Okay. This is altogether. Okay. Now, suppose if you get a requirement that build a login page or test a login page, you won't be able to test it. What if you get this sort of information in the login page? Check the field username, check the field password. Is it testable? Does this sound testable?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So these are the test scenarios and test cases. These sometimes it's written by business and testing team only, but somewhere business analyst also. So remember, test scenario is like a broader explanation of the requirement. Test cases is the actual thing that you need to test, the basic testable components of the scenario. Clear on test cases and test scenario?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Keep this example in mind. Generally asked, can you, rather than definitions, also in interviews these days, rather than definitions, they are just asking you to provide an example, because examples are pretty self-explanatory for all these things. So rather than focusing on definitions, please focus on the implementation of that in in day-to-day life. So test case and test scenario we've covered. Then comes the deployment. So after testing also, there are two types of testing done. One is on the QA. Once QA testing is done, then the testing happens on the UAT, that is user acceptance testing platform, which is done on the client side by some members from the client side. Like if I am the client, I'm the stakeholder, you have built, you have given it to me, I will appoint a tester from my team to just test it. So they will test it and give you their feedback. And once everything is completed, everything is done, then there is a deployment stage, okay, where the app will be ready for its deployment. And then followed by the maintenance, which we have already discussed. So I'm going to provide you this deck that will contain all these detailed information with respect to the app. So is it clear, everybody? A basic
Yes,
SDLC.
Yes.
What?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
In the earlier days now, softwares are built since long time, but at like very early age, at the very starting point when software started building now, there was no process as such. It was just on the ad hoc basis. If you're getting something, they just used to start working randomly. Everything was random. And there was too much of unorganization. So that's why they came up with the approach that, hey, we should have a proper strategy or a proper process or a proper plan to implement this. And then they came up with this SDLC, that is Software Development Lifecycle Approach, which comprised of a waterfall model. Waterfall model is similar to this, but just giving you the background of how it emerged. So they gave us the information about the waterfall. They actually created this strategy, and waterfall was used on various projects that were developed. So the objective of waterfall was, it was very quite of rigid analysis to be done at the first step. That is, everything, all requirements should be gathered in one time only. We won't have sessions. Then once it is in test designing, only designing to be done. Once it is in development, only development has to be done. So this approach was actually followed, which is a good approach, right? Now, one question for you. Like we took an example of building a cake. This approach that we discussed, does it fit with building a cake? Is the question clear, or you want me to rephrase?
The approach which you just said, ma'am.
Yeah, the approach that we discussed.
Oh,
Ma'am,
no.
ma'am, so, like so for some stages we can do like for cake we cannot change it if it is bad, like design if they don't want their design after once implement.
Mhm. So we did not discuss about changes only so far. We are just talking about this standard process.
Okay, standard process we can go.
Can you go, if you want to build a cake, can you have this, build that in a proper way with these stages? Like first focusing only on requirements, then designing only on focus on only designing, then only development, then only delivery. My answer is yes, you can.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay. Have you seen these days there are so many constructions going on? There are so many properties available. Did you come across so many pre-launches offer are there of related to housing? Okay. So a simple question for you. There is a builder who wants to create a society, okay, which has all amenities. There are 10 to 15 buildings. There will be a gym, clubhouse, all sort of amenities and everything. Just quickly think, will this approach fit there? Where first they are only doing the requirement gathering, then they are doing the analysis, then they are doing the design, then implementation, and once everything is complete, then only they are asking people, or then only they are selling it. What do you think? What's your thought?
No, ma'am.
Why?
Some of the properties get sold even before constructed.
For example?
Like someone might give the advance for the flat which are still under construction.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
Like we cannot do the testing part, but before selling that property land we have to show them the amenities which are coming up, like if you take now, like we have to plan it out, but we cannot test it.
Correct.
The thing is that
Correct. So the thing is that you are a client, you came up with this requirement that you want to buy a flat. I'm telling you that, hey, I have this property of mine where we are building this township or something, and we are going to build 20 flats, but currently two are ready with me, and we are going to have all the amenities like clubhouse, play area, and everything. But for now, swimming pool is there, and this is the flat that is ready to move. The plan is to create 20 buildings, but now we have two which are fully functional. Will you prefer buying that? And I'm saying you that, hey, after 2 years, the entire thing will be developed. Will you prefer buying it?
no ma'am, as the concern of the like many things will come, like if after 2 years everything will be okay, like there will be coming and going of many workers and all, so we will not prefer to buy it before it completes.
Okay. But still, I mean, you are
It
in a...
prefers upon the value, ma'am. If the value gets increased in the future, we can buy it.
Correct. But you are in an urgent need. Okay, you want it somehow. You want a place somehow. So won't you visit, won't you buy it? Or say, let's take example. This is also example of a mall. A mall is to be constructed, and the plan is to have 100 outlets over there. But currently 20 are only functional. Will you go to that mall or no?
We'll go.
You'll go, right?
Yes.
Why 100% is not created?
Because in 20 shops the need which we have we will be getting there.
Correct. This is what is agile. Now for a mall, will these things work if I decide that I will gather requirement first? Then only once 100 are developed, then only I will start the mall. Will that be a good decision for me?
No.
No, correct. For the property also that we discussed, that won't be a good thing for me because I will lose out so much of time. So to handle projects like this, we have a different approach that we call as agile. Okay.
Yes,
Software development is about development of projects, but projects, there are different projects of different type, and each project needs to be handled in a separate way, not separate, but different ways. So generally, when there are small products, very small things that needs to be developed, then waterfall is nothing but SDLC that we discussed in these phases. These are waterfall that will be used. But if there is a huge project which is taking 5 years, 6 years, or say 3 years, so client won't wait that much. So we will follow a different approach that is called as agile for these type of projects. Is it clear for now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just to make it a bit easy, agile cannot be used in making a cake, or not. Cake is like a very simple example. If for example, suppose we already have this feature where okay, take example of banking application only. A mobile banking application was created. Okay. Eventually, some features were added to this. Okay, like connecting it with social networking or something. These are eventually to be added. Now there is a new feature to be added where the application is capable of sending messages to the users on their WhatsApp, or sending WhatsApp messages or WhatsApp birthday wishes. It is a very small feature. For this type of features, we won't go agile. For this, we can go waterfall. Waterfall, that is SDLC. SDLC is only called as, like, SDLC contains a waterfall and agile. Waterfall is very similar to SDLC. Yes, please. Any questions? Did you understand the requirement correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
There is a mobile banking platform which is already developed, which is already working. Just to, increase interaction with customer, we have decided to send them WhatsApp messages. Small feature that needs to be developed, correct? So for that, we won't go agile. Because will the customer be happy if you are only getting the message and you're not able to read it, like just you're getting the headline that message from ICICI Bank, that's it? No, the customer will need full message. So these type of features, small type of features, are built into waterfall. But building the entire mobile banking application will happen in agile. Is it roughly clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Why are we differentiating this with these two, waterfall and agile? Any idea?
It's from the scratch, and the other one is adding a feature from the existing.
Other as in waterfall, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, correct. So just to organize, just to get more value out of it, that's why we have these different frameworks. So one is in agile also, there is a sub classification, that is Scrum and everything that we'll see. And then we have this waterfall. So waterfall is very similar, but approach is a bit different, that we can see in the next session. So that was about SDLC. Analysis, design, coding, testing, keep that in mind, and then you can elaborate it. Okay. So that's all what I wanted to cover. I wanted to cover some important questions that are asked in interview. So let's see this question. If we are already running out of time, I guess. I'm not sure if we can continue, or let me see. We can discuss one scenario at least. Okay. first scenario we'll discuss. These are the ones that are asked in the interviews. Keep in mind. So there is a scenario, a client's requirement are continuously changing during a project. How would you adapt your SDLC model to handle this situation? I'm a client. I came to you to build something and I'm continuously changing the requirements. How will you handle this scenario? Any thoughts on this?
Yes, ma'am. Like according to me, while doing the project, if I on the particular date, if I am making any changes, I will take a feedback from the client so that he is comfortable with that. Then I will implement it. If according to me,
Mm-hmm.
like he is continuously changing each and everything, so I will ask first him, then I will implement that thing.
Okay. Any
Plan
other?
the SDLC according to the as it can adapt the changes
Mm-hmm.
which can be made by the client.
Okay.
Designing a plan such that
Okay. In SDLC model, waterfall model, changes cannot be accommodated. One thing keep in mind. SDLC and waterfall cannot take changes in considerations. What is your approach to this?
If it will not take changes, then ma'am, on the continuous basis we have to take the feedback from the client so that afterwards it will not affect the client's perspective also, and from our side also, and
Hmm.
both the team will be happy.
Correct. That is one thing. And second thing is, if the requirements are continuously changing, okay, so in that case, since waterfall doesn't have the capability to accommodate changes, you can recommend agile approach, the agile SDLC approach. Okay, requirements are changing, as in client don't say ki report field aaj keep it 10 characters, tomorrow 20. No, these are not requirement changes. They are coming to you, they are telling you that hey, uh, create a simple uh, uh, simple thing on the website which gives you the list of the products and build a capability that customers are able to buy a product. This is one requirement they gave. You agreed. Yes, you're giving it. Now they are saying that, hey, create a dashboard where the customer is able to see all the information. Now, first requirement was given. You did your planning, everything according to this requirement. Okay, you allocated days, everything. Now again, they are saying that you need to create a dashboard. So this is a second requirement that they are giving in the first sprint, first time only. So that is why they are just making the quick changes. So that's why, in case if there are frequent changes, so firstly, though, first thing that you said, you will take feedback from the stakeholder, get their sign off on the requirements, and have this deal that we will be working on only this much, whatever is signed or agreed. Again, if they are continuously changing, then you can think of going to the agile approach. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We are actually on time now. So I think I should wrap it now. But before wrapping up, I just wanted to quickly check with you. Did you understand clearly what we discussed today and everything? Any thoughts, any feedback is much appreciated, because I really want you to get the best out of it. So I'm being too fast or you're not able to understand. You need more visual representation, or what are your feedbacks? I really want to know.
Ma'am, like the class was really interactive and like understandable. Like as I was not from this background, like I was able to understand. Like ma'am, one more thing. Like today you have discussed the case study. Like it is the best approach to learn new things. So if from next class more case studies can be discussed, then it will be,
Sure,
yeah.
sure. I have added as much case studies. I really don't want to focus on the theoretical knowledge, because honestly, now that is not asked. I mean, that is not implemented only in organizations. In organizations, waterfall is not followed only. It's always the hybrid approach, and hybrid is not mentioned anywhere in the internet or something, because these things are like, these takes place according or within the organization based on the experiences. So that's why I really want you to, have that real-time knowledge that I have gained in my experience so far. So yes, I will add as much as case studies and scenarios and all I can. People, any other feedback, and please, I really want this to be interactive, because if you all are planning to get the BA job, you have to speak, you have to talk, you have to ask as many questions as you can. So that's why some more interaction with is really appreciated. Any other thoughts, please? Absolute silence.
Nothing, ma'am. The session was good.
Okay, fine. So I'll just follow this approach, and let's meet next week. Next week, we are going to focus on waterfall and some case studies and the projects that particularly are developed in waterfall, along with these scenario-based questions. Okay, these questions I wanted to cover in today's session, but I couldn't. But all these are scenario-based. What will you do? How will you react if the client is doing this, if the developer is not working? All sort of questions. Okay. So yes, that's all from my end. I will be sharing this deck with Payal, I guess. Yes, and she will share it with you. Go through it. In case of any questions, please come. Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Have a good rest of the day, everyone. See you.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a great Sunday.
Yeah, bye.
Bye, ma'am.